I'm Rob.
And I'm Matt.
And this is the Seeking Evil The Wendigo VR.
Reviewed by Barefoot Gaming.
So Matt, what's the concept of the game?
You're trying to light these totems on fire to kill this Wendigo, and then when you've lighted 9 totems on fire, then you go and light his heart, and then after that, he's dead.
Yep.
Pretty self-explanatory.
And the way you find the totems is you have an ankh in your one hand, you've got a lighter in the other. You can pick up a couple different things. I'm not exactly sure what the benefit of it is. We picked up a stick right off the bat.
Yeah, we lit it on fire, and then immediately the voice tells you, put your light out. So I mean, there's not really a point to having this stick and carrying it around, because at least for us when we were in VR, it was bright enough even when it was dark to not even need a stick.
The game goes for like atmosphere scares. So every time you light a totem to whittle down the Wendigo's health or to get him closer to death, the game amps up in difficulty.
For the first 3 that you light up, it's pretty simple. You crouch around, you walk around to find these, and your ankh guides you to where these totems are. There's a little thing in the center of it that if it moves left to right, depending on where the totem is, that's where you need to go.
And if you pull your trigger, it kind of puts like a purple wave over everything. And if you're close enough to see the totem, it'll show up, but otherwise you're just using the little ball in the center to line up with where you're trying to get to. Another point I should probably mention is there's a red light that kind of hits the forest at certain points, and it's not the Wendigo itself, it's just something looking for you. So while you're out looking for your totems, you have to make sure that you're hiding behind either bushes or trees.
Sauron.
So it is kind of the Eye of Sauron, absolutely. And you want to just get it so that you're in a shadow spots that you're not seen. We should also talk about the locomotion style, as that's important to a lot of the viewers out there.
Yeah, use your trackpad to move around either forward, backwards, left, right. It's where you're facing the direction is where you'll move. So if you hold left and right, it's mostly just strafing and stuff like that.
The only other mechanic we haven't really touched on is when the Wendigo actually shows up in front of you. And then it'll tell you to run. So what you need to do is point in the opposite direction as fast as you can. You squeeze your controllers and you run. That's what you do. And as far as we can tell, he will never catch up to you as long as you are running away from him. So if you see him first, you're fine. If he sneaks up on you and you don't see him, well, then you're dead. So at this point, I think we can actually get down to the review. This game is going for $10 Canadian or $9.99. Right. So out of 5, Matthew, how many Eyes of Sauron would you give this out of 5 and why?
I'd probably only give this game a half star, maybe a 1 out of 5. It's just not that scary to me. I mean, we've played a bunch of games in the past where we've been scared and you're spooked going through this area, but it feels like they were kind of trying to rip off Slender Man in a way. And you're walking around, and even if you're not crouching, you see that light. I mean, there was one time I just stood in the light waiting for something to happen, and
holding
nothing,
your lighter in the air and just going, I'm over here.
Nothing ever came to me. I mean, I lit 3 totems, and then all of a sudden he appeared behind me, and even then, it's not even scary. It's like the fact that they're going for jump scares, and once you realize that, you kind of just stand around. It's kind of just, okay, I'm gonna walk to this totem, I'm gonna light it, walk to the next totem, light it. There's not much to the game. So yeah, I would only give it a half star, maybe a 1 out of 5.
So I'd give it a 1 out of 5 as well. Matthew touched on the point that as long as you're staying in cover, as long as you go from tree to tree, and there's certain spots where you can't, where you have to like make a break across the open type area. But as long as you're doing that, you're relatively safe. And once you've seen him once, at least for me, I can only speak for me on this, but once I saw him once, it was like, oh, that's the Wendigo. Yep. He isn't that scary. The atmosphere never changes. All it is he will just try to get to you as fast as he can, or he'll be right behind you when you spin around. That's it. There isn't more to the game than that.
There's like a voice in the background that's kind of tell you what to do and stuff like that. It doesn't add anything. It feels like it's just recycling through some things that it's supposed to say. Like it tells you to turn off your light even if your light isn't on. It also tells you to get behind trees and stuff constantly, whereas you don't need to be behind trees. As long as you're crouched, or as long as when you see him you start running, you're totally fine.
We realized as we went into the game a little bit that if you stay crouched for most of it, I mean, you've already reduced the odds of being seen greatly. So you just sit on your haunches and travel around on the trackpad. If you were really short, this game would be even easier, I would think. Because you just end up sitting on your butt and just spin around.
Yeah, if you had a pivot chair, just sit down and do your thing with that, because there's no reason for you to stand up this entire game at all.
No, it doesn't take good use of the room scale. It looks okay. You see the dead animals, you see dead people when you're going around. The atmosphere is mildly spooky, but this isn't something that I'd rank up there in the horror VR games at all. And this is available both on the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift. And that's another review by Barefoot Gaming of
The Seeking Evil Wendigo.
Close enough.
Was it actually it?
Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you know when our videos are coming out, and we'll talk to you again real soon. See ya.
See ya.